Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Dadnapped. Yes, this is a Disney Channel movie, TV movie, yes. It came out in 2009. It's an hour and 25 minutes long. And maybe you grew up with this, and you maybe have fond memories of it. Um, I, I can't say I had the same, even though I just finished it like 2 minutes ago. Okay, let's be upfront. This was not made for me at all. It just isn't good from my perspective. If you were 9 when you saw this and you loved the heck out of it, and maybe you have a crush on Emily Osment, who is Haley Joel Osment's little sister. He was in Sixth Sense, and so many other things. Or maybe you have a crush on Wheeze, or what about the guy who plays Trip Zoom. Trip Zoom is Jonathan Keltz. Basically, this is a greatest hits of Disney Plus actors, kid actors mainly, but also adults as well. Phil Lewis shows up here. You'll know him from The Secret Life, or not The Secret Life, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. He was always the beleaguered butler, or I don't know, the guy who oversees all their stuff. He's always, oh my, and he's just always flustered and annoyed by everything they do. And he's the brunt of all their miscellaneous antics. Well, they put facial hair on him and made him lose the voice, and he's kind of badass in this. He's sort of a bad guy. Yeah, even the bad guys in this are not scary at all. This is definitely made for Disney, and it's the only time you'll ever think of a kidnapping where there is absolutely no weapons ever involved. Really no threat of bodily harm except for toward the end, where somebody says, well, this is going to be the last book you ever write. And then that's basically inferring they're going to kill the dad that was napped. By the way, the dad who was napped is played by, where are you? Oh, George Newbern. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He's got that character actor face that you might know. But yeah, the main characters in this. It's basically Emily Osment, who plays Melissa, the daughter of the writer, who is a superstar. He's even got he's written a book about basically a teenage James Bond. It's a huge series, and he has fans all over, and he loves his fans. He's very much about getting in the middle of them and hanging out and meeting them, which just sounds weird. I don't know. I mean, sure, there's plenty of people who love their fans and, will show up at events to, do signings and things like this. But this guy seems to go out of his way to really screw everything up in order to do this. He's supposed to have he and his wife have been divorced, and Melissa is looking forward to the camping trip they're supposed to go on, and he's like, I'm here, let's go, we're going to, we got to make a quick detour real quick at this little town where they're having a Zoom con, and it's a bunch of people dressed up in pretty much, I'm pretty sure there was no consistency whatsoever. They just said, hey, anybody want to be in a Disney movie? Dress up in a wacky costume, wear the tablecloth as a cape, or do whatever, and you'll be in it. And you get to be weird, and you get to shoot slime at people, like make slime and goo and all sorts of other crap, and you'll get to yell a lot, run through the streets, and just shoot slime at the bad guys, which cows them into submission and makes them go, no, stop, no more, no more. I'll stop being bad now. There are a lot of twists and turns in this because essentially, but they're all weirdly, it's just, okay. Melissa has to tag along to the convention basically shot in a small town in Utah, and the dad is making a competition who is the most devoted fan with the most realistic contraption or thing that is devoted to the book and the character. And by the way, Melissa is having a psychotic break, I think. Melissa, who's like, what, 13, 14 maybe in this, all I know is she can't drive. And she has a psychotic break enough where she sees the character of Trip Zoom, a very handsome young man. She's forced to carry around his standee, like, the cardboard cutout of the character, and has to set it around all the time, and it talks to her. And sometimes he's in full 3 dimensions and standing right next to her, going, "Hey, how you doing?" Like and she hates him. She just hates him. Really, she hates the fact that her dad is more devoted to him as a character, a completely not real character, instead of her. It's the books are more important. The character's more important than her, and she's really miffed off. She's pissed off. The heck, I'm trying to censor myself because it's a Disney thing, but she's really ticked off. There's a little bit of repartee between the two of them because he's not real and completely in her head, and she is caught talking aloud to nobody many times. It's a great little metaphor for her frustration over her dad being inattentive and pretty much a lousy dad for the most part. And but yeah, and it comes down to to coming to terms with that. And this whole thing is about them reconciling, father and daughter, and in the course of him being continuously kidnapped at least twice in a day, and then the bad guys keep shifting, and she's on the trail of the people who initially kidnapped him, which were a bunch of teenagers. And the weird thing is that they go out of their way to create these weird coincidences, like, in order to get them into the same place. Like, normally, if you're going to kidnap a guy, you just take off and go someplace and not be distracted by the fact you need to return books to the library. And coincidentally, a scene before, she happened to find that a book they dropped somewhere had his library card punch thing, and it shows where the book was borrowed from. And so that it leads them to the same place. I don't know. And you can see the main bad guy coming a mile away, but still. The second kidnapping involves two adult guys, not kids, two adult guys kidnapping him so they can force him to edit the book that the one guy named Skunk is writing, who doesn't know how to write. And so they're making Dad, the author, rewrite it. But then that's not the end of it. There's somebody even higher up the chain that I'm not going to ruin for you, but you might figure it out, who's overseeing all of this. But eventually, everybody defeats the bad guys using the knowledge they have of the character in the books. Oh, remember that scene in chapter 6 and the book 7 or whatever it is, and then he did this and he did that. Let's do that. And somehow it works. Like running around screaming with tubes full of foam and slime and just yelling and then pointing at people. No guns, of course. You're not going to have that. I'm not expecting that to be a thing. It's just, but it's still, it's like the bad guys are not threatening in any way. They just tie Dad up with duct tape and force him to read and write, and when he's not doing that, make him run around. And the people that are kidnapping him, except for Skunk, are all fairly smaller than he is. I think at the right moment, he could just push them over and walk away, and it'd be all over. But that wouldn't, the movie would be 10 minutes long. So the same thing with Melissa. She's very capable on her own. The two of them working together, I'm pretty sure they could just go boo to some of the bad guys and they would flinch and the movie would be over. But that's not fun. So, yes, I think it's a big fantasy. Like, imagine if you were a huge Harry Potter fan. Oh, that's not a good I'm not going to mention J.K. Rowling. Imagine you're a big kids author fan. Oh, what's Susan Collins? You know, the Hunger Games? Is that Susan Collins? No, I don't know. Anyway, imagine the writer of the Hunger Games showed up in town, and she was really excited to hang out with all of you, and you all were really excited to see her, and then you just had to come up with a thing from the Hunger Games to save the author's life when she's kidnapped, but with no actual real weapons. That's kind of how it works out. So, yeah, I've talked this into the ground. It's not a great movie, but it's a silly distraction. If it's not the kind of thing you're going to be looking at and going, oh, you know what? I really need to see Dadnapped on Disney Plus. No, you're going to watch it because you watched it as a kid, and you want to go, does this hold up? And you're going to go, no. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe you have fond memories. Maybe you were in that crowd in Utah shooting that, and that's why this movie is great for you. And, you know, hold on to that love. Love it. Never let anybody shame you for something that is some form of entertainment or media that you love. As long as nobody's hurt making it, viewing it or making it or anything else. Seriously, you love Dadnapped. Live with it. I mean, live with it. Go with that. Just, yeah. Anyway. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. No, there's nobody else. I'd say, yeah. I do not make this a priority. I would say not make this a priority on your watch list, unless you got fond memories. So, other than that, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
535.
Ooh, way up. 535. That's might be in the thes. It is. I don't know what this is. But we'll find out. The Hatcher Family Diary. I don't know if that sounds interesting or not, but it's either a live action or a documentary type thing. That sounds familiar now that I'm thinking of it, but it doesn't matter. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Watching Dadnapped or not. Probably not. But the Hatcher Family Diary is what we're doing on Black Friday. See if we can get that deal. See if we got a deal on this. The Hatcher Family Diary on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.